And we're live. So we have Devin Sunshine in the building today.
What's good?
I appreciate you joining me on my very first podcast. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I did have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
Because first and foremost, I think an introduction's in order. So if you wouldn't mind, just go through how you kind of started music and your background and who you are and whatnot.
For sure. Okay. So, I've been involved in music my whole life, pretty much. I did musical theater as a kid. I was always in choirs in school and church and stuff like that. I was actually in a formal choir in college as well. So I got a lot of vocal training there. I was in voice lessons and all that stuff. So I've always been involved in music, but I didn't start recording music and kind of taking it seriously as, a career or just myself as an artist, pushing myself as an artist until a few years back. And I kind of, created this persona per se of Devin Sunshine and just ran with it. And I've been, seeing where it takes me ever since.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to actually watch what you've already done online. You and I have known each other now for, 2.5 years or so?
Yeah, coming up on it. Because, like I said, I've been doing this for probably a little over 3 years now, and we connected pretty quick. So, yeah, it's been about that long.
Your growth has been amazing to me. And that was kind of the main question, one of the things that I really was very curious about is how did you really get into how should I word this? Just gaining a following on social media, because everybody is very curious about this and we all take our different paths. So, how did you choose yours and what worked for you?
Yeah. So that was, yeah, there's been ups and downs for sure. Social media, it's a love-hate relationship. I know I've been speaking about this to a lot of different people recently, especially, as things are changing in the music industry. It's hard to just be a musician anymore. You kind of have to be an influencer of sorts. You have to be on social media, be active to really, be playing the game right, per se. So yeah, it's been interesting. I do enjoy social media, especially I know people hate on Instagram and they say Instagram's dying and stuff, but I really enjoy Instagram. I've been, obviously on TikTok for a while now. TikTok is huge for the music industry, which I don't know. Again, I have kind of a love-hate relationship for it, just because it is tough seeing I don't know, like I said, having to be an influencer and yeah, just TikTok kind of dictating the charts. It's a cool concept, but it's tough because it's I feel like the art of music and just the actual music itself sometimes isn't the best quality, or it's overlooked, But yeah, as far as myself on social media, I've enjoyed it, for the most part, and I think just consistency is a huge thing on social media, being authentic and being yourself. I've definitely fallen into periods and working with different people where I've had obligations to post a certain thing, or they've wanted me to post something and say certain things, and that just never feels good. I always try to be authentic in what I'm doing, or if something feels if it feels like I'm trying to be too pushy and too animated, or I don't know, it just never feels good. So I try to just be really authentic in my social media. That's just a huge thing as far as my brand in general, just being authentically yourself. And I feel like that's what people are looking for on social media. And that's really cool with TikTok. That's a huge thing on TikTok, is more authenticity and more rawness than Instagram. I've heard the comparison. TikTok is more of the raw version of it. It depends on how you utilize the apps. You can totally do both on both platforms, but TikTok tends to be more of the rawness, whereas Instagram is more of the polished version, the professional photos and the videos, the professional videos and stuff like that. I try to do both on both platforms. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey. But yeah, I would say as far as growing my following and stuff, just being consistent, being authentic, and engaging with your community, which I know it's a huge thing that you've inspired me to do, especially recently. You've been hopping on TikTok and going live every morning, which is crazy, such a huge commitment. But that's how you got to do it, just engaging with your community and yeah, being involved, getting people interested and caring about you as a person, because then they'll care about your art.
Actually, it's really cool you bring that up, because to coattail what you're saying, I think lives are really, really good for artists and producers in general.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I think of it. You're kind of opening the doors to your business, and you're allowing people to come in, speak to you, you know, and some are window shoppers, some might actually be like fans or whatever, but like this is how you could connect to people. So that's how like I've thought of it. And like you just said it, like you're connecting with the people, you're actually having conversations. Right. So I think that that's a big one, but also TikTok, it's the replies, because this is where you could be authentic.
True.
You know, and like that's where I see the power in it. I'm like, this is where the authenticity could come from, because if someone asks you questions and you get back to them with a video reply, it just makes it more personal, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So what would be like, say, we'll break it up, like 2 pros about Instagram and then like 2 pros about TikTok.
Oh, okay. Let's see. So pro about Instagram, I mean, I really love the story feature. I know Snapchat is still like huge, and that was like kind of originated on Snapchat. I haven't had Snapchat for many, many years. Once Instagram kind of picked up that feature, I kind of dropped Snapchat and I started using that feature just on Instagram. I really like the story feature because it's like, I don't know, it feels like every day it's kind of just like a little mini movie of your day, or, you know, you can repost stuff as well and post songs from Spotify and all this different stuff now. I really like that feature. I wouldn't be surprised if TikTok picks up something like that as well. So I love that about Instagram. Let's see, another pro about Instagram. I don't know. I still like on Instagram that I know they're moving, like they've literally said and advertised that they're moving away from it being a photo sharing app, that they're trying to make it more of a video sharing app with like Reels and IGTV or whatever it's called now. But I still like that Instagram is like, you know, the bundle of it all. There's photos, there's videos, there's, you know, diversity in content, whereas TikTok, it's more of a commitment when you open the app. You know, you've got your audio on, you're more committed to watching videos, whereas Instagram, you can kind of pick it up if you're out in public and just like scroll briefly and, you know, view photos and videos or whatever. So I do like that about Instagram. But yeah, TikTok is really cool for, I'm getting a call real quick. One sec. Okay, we good?
I saw that. It's all good. We're good. We're good. We're back.
TikTok is really cool. I don't know. Again, it's kind of like a love-hate thing. I think TikTok is really cool as far as like the trends and the like trending sounds, and how it's almost like a spin-off of Vine, and it's kind of like heavy in like the meme culture, and making like skits or like your own version of these trending sounds and applying like your personal scenarios to it. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think that's really cool, but it also does get kind of old scrolling TikTok and seeing like the same trending sound, or people just like recreating the same video over and over just because it's like a trending sound and they're trying to hop on the trends. So it's a bit oversaturated, but I do like that about TikTok, that it's kind of more based in like the meme culture, like the humor of it. I mean, depends on what kind of content you're putting out on TikTok, but for the most part, I feel like that's like a huge thing about TikTok, is the trending sounds and the funny sounds. And I think it's cool too that people can like create their own audios and like chop up trending sounds to make a new trending sound, and just take like snippets from movies and different lines and songs and kind of mash them up and make like their own sound that's oftentimes humorous or, you know, relatable or whatever. But yeah, I think that's a cool feature for sure.
Well, like, you know, because now I'm finally on TikTok and like utilizing it, but like, I don't know, I sense it from you. Is there like, not to call you out or anything, sounds like there's like maybe some like animosity or something with TikTok? Like, did something happen?
Wait, with me?
Yeah, am I wrong about this? Am I off or?
Oh, no. I mean, yeah, no, nothing happened on TikTok or anything like that. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say like animosity towards it. I just, I don't know. I guess I do have slight animosity towards it as far as, like I said, it like totally shaping the music industry these days. I mean, it's cool to an extent, but I also kind of, I don't know, just as like an artist and a creative, I feel like it sometimes takes away, like I said, from like the true art of the music. And I mean, it's just kind of like the way of the world now, the way of, you know, how things are going. But yeah, I would say I have slight animosity towards the whole, not towards TikTok specifically, but just the whole like having to be like an online persona as a musician. I mean, I would love to just be able to focus on the music and the craft, but it does help me, you know, get outside the box, and it's helped me, yeah, as we were talking about earlier, kind of focus on more of like the entrepreneurial aspect as well of being an artist. And yeah, so I don't know. It's tough. I would love for it to just be about the music, but it's just not anymore. So it's a tough thing to kind of like wrap your head around, being just a musician and like, really wanting to focus on the music. But it is cool that it's, giving, independent artists like myself the opportunity to market yourself essentially for free on TikTok if you can, get enough traction and stuff like that. So there's pros and cons for sure.
Yeah, no, I relate to you so much. Like, it is such a struggle to keep up with the content, and like it takes away from the creativity. Like, by the time we have time to be creative, we're tired. Like, I don't want to do this.
You're kind of cutting out a little bit.
Like, I'm just saying that, like, the content is taken away. Like, by the time you're done doing all the content, you're just too tired to do the music.
Yeah, exactly. It can be tough.
Like, we have to be creative with content. It's like, that's taken away from the mental space. So I get it. I totally relate.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, it's tough. And like I said, I do enjoy it, like, posting content and coming up with creative skits and just different ways to market my music. And like I said, it's really helping me, push my comfort zone and think outside the box and think of new ways to market my songs in different ways. But yeah, it can definitely be tough and time consuming. It's social media, especially as someone, an independent artist trying to grow. It's like a full-time job on top of your full-time job or everything else you're trying to do,
So true. And so, like, how about this? Like, when you finally get, like, say, a super good post and you're like, oh, this is going to be amazing, like, looks good and everything, and then it flops. Like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, that's that's tough. And I feel like I deal with that so often. And I feel like maybe that's why I have, like, slight animosity towards TikTok, just because... I don't know. I've been trying to shift my perspective on that, though. I saw a recent video on TikTok, actually, and it was about just engagement on TikTok and how, like, each video you put out is kind of like submitting a ticket. Because I've heard that the TikTok algorithm is basically, they do it on purpose. It's basically like a lottery. Like, you post videos consistently, and, that's obviously the best way to grow and reach the most people in theory. But every video you put out, you're not going to reach the For You page or reach your full audience every time. And it's kind of like they purposefully make it like a lottery type thing where they, you get certain boosts on certain videos. You want to keep posting more. You're like, oh, okay, well, maybe this next one I'll reach the For You page too. And they do it purposefully. But it can be tough. It can be really discouraging, especially as an artist, or just anyone trying to grow on the platform. But I think like I said, I saw a TikTok video that was like, every video you put out, it's like submitting a ticket, and not every video is going to reach the For You page or reach new people, but not every video is for that. Some videos are just for reaching your following or reaching your niche. So I think it's all about your mental perspective, and I definitely, I don't know, I want to I want to have better feelings towards TikTok and social media in general, because it can definitely be discouraging when you put so much time into, and like myself, I edit all my own videos. Sometimes I spend a lot of time subtitling my own videos, or like my lyric videos and stuff like that. So it's a lot of time and effort put into it. And if it doesn't reach, your full audience, or doesn't hit the For You page or whatever platform you're posting it on, if it doesn't reach, the amount of people you were hoping, it can definitely be discouraging. But I just try to remind myself that it's just about consistency, and, even if the video doesn't reach, whatever audience you're trying to reach at that time, it's not like people won't go back and find it once they find you in the future and, go back scrolling through your videos and stuff like that. And you can always repost them, try again. But it can be discouraging for sure. But I try to not be like cynical about it, because I know that, the energy you put out, even just your thoughts into the universe, create your reality. So if I'm constantly posting TikTok or Instagram videos and thinking, like, as I post, like, well, let's hope this reaches people, or, if I'm thinking like negatively about it, it's less likely to manifest what I really want. If I'm thinking positively, I'm like, all right, I hope this reaches the people it's supposed to reach. Whoever it's supposed to reach, I hope that these people see it. If I just think more positively about it, obviously it's better for my mental health and, my inner speak, my own thoughts. But I think it's better intention-wise as well, putting that out into the universe, than being like, well, I fucking hope this reaches people. Sorry, I don't know if you want me to cuss on here, but...
I don't care. Okay. Be you. I don't care at all.
So yeah, it's a constant cycle and constant like reworking of just my perspective on social media and just everything too. I mean, even just releasing music on Spotify, every time you release a single, you can work as much as you can as far as marketing yourself, putting money into it, running ads, all those things, which I do all those things. But I don't know, I feel like a lot of it is your intention too. And that's definitely something I've been realizing recently because we've spoken about it personally a few times. The last few months, I've had life's just been throwing me curveballs. I've been feeling really burnt out as far as like my creativity, my social media. And I honestly haven't taken as much of a step back and a break as I probably should.
I was going to say, I can't tell.
Yeah. Well, wait, you can't tell that I've been feeling burnt out, or you can't tell that I...
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's good, because I was going
to say... And that
you're
taking a break.
Interesting.
Because your breaks are still work.
That's interesting you say that, because I was going to say, I feel like I've noticed kind of a decrease in my engagement, because I feel like, I don't know, I mean, I try to still put out positivity and good vibes, and every time I hop in front of the camera, I mean, it's authentic, I mean, I'm not ever like super depressed and I'm like, okay, I gotta film a video today, and like, doing, if I don't feel like it that day, I literally just won't. So every time I do hop on, I mean, it's not like I'm being fake, but I definitely feel like I haven't been putting out the most positive vibes I could in comparison to like a few months ago when I was feeling less burnt out. And so I do feel like people can kind of feel that to an extent, and my engagement has not been the best the past couple months. But it's also just kind of that time of year, things definitely lull in the music industry, and just online in general, people are busy during the holidays and stuff like that. So that could be it too. But yeah, like just looking at it as far as like intention, I feel like because I've been feeling burnt out, and again, it's not like I ever like force myself to create content or anything, but I've been having to, I mean, we talk about discipline a lot as well. I never want to force myself to be creative, but at the same time, I try to have discipline around my social media content and consistency and stuff like that. So, I'll set aside, a full day or, a few hours of a time where I'm like, okay, I'm going to film, I've saved all these sounds on TikTok. I'm going to film a bunch of videos, or, okay, I've got this single coming out. I'm going to film, some promo videos for that, or, a lyric video, whatever I'm filming for the day. So I'll like set aside chunks of time like that to do that, and be sure I'm disciplined about it. But sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Where was I going with this?
This is actually really good stuff. You're killing it.
Yeah. Oh, I was talking about, like being authentic and your intention and stuff. So I try to be disciplined and stay consistent with my social media, but, I feel like people can feel it even through a screen. If you're like forcing yourself to do something or film something or create something, and you're not, if your heart's not 100% in it, I feel like people can sense that through a screen even. So, since I've been a little bit more burnt out the last couple months, I feel like people can maybe feel that. I mean, you're saying you can't even tell, so, I mean, I guess that's good. But, it's interesting, and I just try to keep a healthy mindset about it, and remember that, like, numbers don't, I mean, I don't know, it's tough. I want to say numbers don't mean anything, but as far as, like, they do to an extent, because as far as, like, booking gigs sometimes or landing deals, all these higher up people in the industry or whatever, they do look at numbers. So it's tough to totally brush them off and be like, numbers don't matter. But as far as like my own personal mental health and like, I'm not like stressing over like, oh, I didn't get as many views on this video, or I didn't get as many likes, I try not to let that consume me. But yeah, it's a balance, making sure that you're constantly growing, and your engagement's like, consistently growing with your fan base, and you're reaching more people, because like I said, numbers do matter to an extent when you're trying to book things or land bigger deals, but not letting it just totally ruin your mental health or discourage you creatively, because at the end of the day, you're reaching who you got to reach, I think, if you're putting the right intentions out there, and you just gotta remember that.
I think what it is like, when it comes down to numbers, everyone should gauge where they're at in their career, and then it's what numbers are you focused on. So like, if you're focused on views and all of that, like it might be the wrong thing to focus on, especially in the beginning. You're not going to get it, right? Numbers like streams or like money coming in, that's not coming in the beginning. Maybe the numbers should be like, how many videos are you putting out a day? Like how many hours are you putting in for work? You know, and so when I think of numbers, like they are important all the time, but like you got to kind of determine like what numbers are you focused on? You know, because like I see it a lot and you know it. I talk about it all the time. Like money is the wrong intention, always. And you'll never get there. And so like those are the wrong numbers to focus on. But if you're focused on the amount of hours you're putting in trying to get better at your craft, the money may come from that, right? The other thing, like you were saying that I thought was, it's such a good message for people starting out is that like you actually told me you're like brace. Cause like when you get into TikTok and you get on the algorithm and you get a flood of followers in, like it drops off. And if you're not prepared for this mentally, like it's going to jack you up. Also, the other one is, that's why I asked that question, is like when you spend hours on a post and you're like, dude, I'm going to kill it on this. And it does crickets. It's going to jack you up mentally. Brace yourself. And so like these two things will like, they will make you not want to do it ever again. And like, these are like, like that's
I've definitely gone through periods of that where I'm like, fuck this, it's not reaching anyone. But yeah, you just got to remember to be consistent.
Yeah, and because like it's the wrong numbers are, the views and like how many people are coming in. And like I get it in my life sometimes. Actually, I had like a great conversation with 3 people. And one of them is like, this is awesome conversation with just all 3 of us. And I was like, I don't care if it's just one. I don't. Like 1 is great. That's awesome. It's 1 more than was yesterday. So like, like that's how I think of it. It's just like, there's that famous, I think it's a Will Smith video where he talks about how his father had him build a brick wall, and he talks about it's brick by brick, it's 1 by 1. You're not getting millions in at once. You don't want that. Trust me. That is such like that's like a high and then an extreme drop off. That's what's going to happen to you. And you don't want this. Like you just want the slow drip, the slow build. And so I like how you talk about that. Like you break it down really well. You think, or you're thinking in terms of like, I'm going to create posts. Like you set aside, however many hours you create, like your 5, 6, 7, 8 posts. This is for your week. And then you're good to go, and like, I like how you deal with it mentally because like.
Yeah. And I think it's important too, to remember, like just talking about like numbers and engagement, like, I don't know, again, depending on what you're trying to do, like me as an artist, I mean, maybe it's different for you because, you're more so, I mean, you're obviously trying to grow your platform and stuff to reach other people, but you're more so looking for clients and looking for people like artists who will purchase your beats and stuff like that. And like myself, like the numbers matter a tiny bit more, like your following and stuff like that in regard to if I'm trying to book a gig or land a deal and people are looking at my following. But I think people are catching on more to like the engagement as well. And I think it's really important to remember, I mean, for myself as an artist, and I think for you as well, like as a producer, engineer looking for clients and stuff like that, it's more important to, like, as you talked about your live, if you have like 3 viewers, but you're really engaging with those 3 viewers could become super fans or could become, your top clients that you're working with. You don't need to reach 20, 30, 50 people. Those 3 people could buy hundreds of dollars worth of merch if they really love you, So it's more about having really dedicated, like more of a core group of dedicated fans than like a huge following of just kind of fans, I think that's really important to remember as well, because like those are the ones that are going to come to your shows, buy your merch, or for you, purchase your beats, purchase your services. Rather than just having vacant followers basically who follow you and they like your content and whatever, but they're not really engaged in your life or your work, your art.
Yeah, and I will say this, like over the years that I've been doing this, the most powerful tool of marketing is word of mouth. So you get one super fan, they're gonna put your name in all of their friends, all of their family's mouth, and like just keep doing this over and over and over. And like that's what you want to create is super fans, because that word of mouth is gonna be the best marketing that you ever have.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've really tried to shift my focus to that more so. I mean, yeah, obviously, the numbers are cool. And when you get, tons of streams, you have tons of followers, you feel cool for a second. But then when you're trying to, sell out a show and no one's buying your tickets, it's kind of like, all right, well, does your following mean anything then? So I've been trying to focus more on, as we've spoken about, the engagement, actually DMing the people who, comment on my photos or DM, yeah, just spending, a couple hours a day or whatever the allotted time, just replying to DMs and actually talking to these people that follow me rather than just, oh, cool, I got 5 new followers and not engaging with them, because they're going to forget about you. Your posts don't even show up all the time just because of these algorithms these days. So like, unless you're really engaging with these people and creating connections, creating conversation, they may follow you and cool, you got a new follower, but they're going to forget about you in a week because you didn't make that connection.
This is so important, like so important. And I think actually most musicians just drop the ball in this area. Like, if someone buys a beat from me, and I'm guilty, I've dropped it too, but like I should be diligent on emailing them, thanking them, introducing myself, offering them a deal, like really trying to engage and capitalize on that person. Not really like, of course, like we all want to make a living at this and do it full time, but like, try to treat them as a human, not as just like a customer. And like, when you do this for people, like it just makes them feel like, good about themselves. Like it makes them feel like welcome, and like, to me, I'm like, when I see that, I'm like, this is the key right here. And that's where the slow drip is like, we can't just do this to everybody, but like, if we're neglecting the small group that is already our fans, like, like you're going to ruin it when the bunch of them come in, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, like I'm so much agree with you here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's important to remember too, like we talked about in like the lulls, like especially with TikTok and I mean all different platforms too. You'll have periods where you're gaining a bunch of new followers and like that's cool and that's great, but the periods where you're not, that's a good period to focus on really engaging with the fans you already have, so it's crazy. It's a tough balance all around, but I think just remembering, keeping a good mindset about it and remembering that like consistency and hard work, that's gonna, I don't know, it's gonna help you win, which I don't even like that term, but for lack of a better word, it's gonna help you win more in the long run than, I don't know, getting frustrated with it or, yeah. Well, it's tough, but
I think like, so right now we're in the 4th quarter, right? And musicians, we all know this is a slow period. And so like almost everybody like puts on the brakes. I think right now what we should be doing is creating a ton of new content, trying new stuff, experimenting, getting in with the clients that are already been, or like your followers or whatever, communicating with them, utilizing this time to do that now. And like, just tell them happy holidays. How's the family, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like send out mass emails, doing stuff like that. Like, don't try to sell things, do things and to be authentic and to still keep your name in their mouth, to be in Starbucks on every corner. Like that to me, I think is like one of the big things. Like we all want to like sit back and take breaks and, like enjoy our life, but don't neglect like the people that have been supporting you, especially like in these times.
For sure. Yeah. And I think, touching people personally and just sharing things like about your personal life as well. Like I saw something recently, was probably on TikTok or something as well, advice about like promoting your content and don't necessarily in every video you post end it with like buy my beat, pre-save my song, stream my song. Like that's, already implied for the most part. I mean, obviously you got to throw those call to actions out there, every once in a while. And depends on the platform, depends on the person too, the person viewing it. But, I think this generate like my generation and younger especially, we've been like advertised to our entire life, so we're tired of seeing call to actions. If we really engage with the person, with the post, if it's creative, if it's fun, we're inevitably gonna follow up with them, even if it's not that post directly, if it's the next one you see. So yeah, just being more personal with yourself and just connecting more with your audience in whatever way that may be, through humor, through sharing more of your personal life. Rather than just constantly trying to be like promoting.
Yeah, and I think that's really where TikTok like comes in and bridges the gap, right? Is they're like, what, like Instagram, you guys are like straight up just business at this point, and like, I don't even know what to say about Twitter. Like
Yeah.
Twitter is weird. Twitter's weird.
I suck at Twitter. I never know like what to
So
say.
weird.
I'm like, do people care about my random thoughts? I don't know. I only created a Twitter like maybe a year ago again. Before that, I hadn't had a Twitter since like high school. So I'm just like so lost on Twitter. I'm like, what do I even what do I even tweet about?
I really believe, I mean, I'm being negative, but like I really believe like Twitter is like a cesspool of complaining. That's all I see there. Like
true.
I really see like just tons of complainers and like everybody saying like they create these communities and then they talk crap about everyone. I'm like, it's so strange to me. And that might be just
Very
my
true.
algorithm. I could be off, but like that's what I see on Twitter. So I'm like, I don't know if I could chill over here. I don't know if I could, I don't know if this is my scene.
Yeah.
So, like
no,
I wanted
hear
to bring this up.
celebrities talk about that as well. That Twitter is like like the worst for like hate as well. Like people just have tons of haters on Twitter because, like you said, people are just complaining. People feel like they can say whatever they want because that's kind of what Twitter is for. Just like voicing any thought you have, any opinion you have. But yeah, it turns into a lot of negativity a lot of the time. So gotta watch yourself on there.
A lot of those thoughts were meant to be thoughts, okay? Like,
Yeah, keep those
it.
to yourself.
Just keep them there. Like, we all think negative, but like, let's not project it to the world. We get enough of that, right?
Yeah,
I wanted to
for
bring
real.
this up though. Like, another sleeper is those YouTube shorts. I don't know if you're on them.
Yeah, I haven't. I've heard about him. I haven't really hopped on him too much yet, but I feel like I should. Have you hopped
No,
on
you
him?
really, really should. I did. Yes, I
Okay.
started like 2 weeks ago, and like my YouTube has been crickets for like 3 years, right?
Okay.
No joke. Been at 66 subscribers for like 2 years, and the past 2 weeks, and now I'm at 76. So, like to me, that's remarkable, right? Like I got 10 subscribers in 2 weeks over, as opposed to 2 years, and that was strictly from the YouTube Shorts. So like I wanted to throw that in this podcast because I feel like this is a bit of a gem. Like a lot of people were talking about it. Like I'm not like the first person to say it, but like if
Yeah,
you
sure.
are a beat maker or artist and you're posting content on YouTube or Instagram and TikTok already, just rip it off of there and put it on YouTube, and they do it like straight through the app. It makes it super easy. And like most of like, I haven't gotten like crazy views or anything like that, but like, I don't know, like 10 videos or something like that. I've had like over 3,000, views and like people
Dang.
commenting. I've had some beat buyers come in. So like, that's never happened to me on YouTube. So I was like, hey, like this is something that I think everyone needs to start to kind of focus on and pay attention to.
Yeah.
And like the short form content, I think it's winning right now,
For sure. Yeah, I think that's really important. Again, it's kind of like I don't know, not a love-hate thing, but it's just interesting. The attention span of like this generation, even, I don't know, I'm like a millennial, I guess. I'm like a young millennial, but yeah, Gen Z, like the generation younger than me specifically, their attention span is just so short. And it's interesting how it's shaped the music industry as well. Like songs these days, like the top 40 especially, almost no song is longer than 3 minutes. Like 3 minutes is like a long song these days. And also in regards to like albums as well, like artists aren't releasing albums either, which is tough. And it's kind of like we were talking about animosity at the beginning of the this podcast, and it's just you got to just kind of go with the flow, go with how things are in the time. But as a creative, like it's kind of sad because like I love albums and I love from other artists and myself as well, just creating like a whole body of work with like a theme and putting so much time into it. But people literally just don't care these days. They don't have the attention span, or they don't care to sit through a full length album. They just want single, which is just you just got to flip your perspective and just kind of go with what the people want. But it does kind of suck in some ways because you're like, dang, I've got like a full body of work that I put all this time into, and it's like a whole theme in and of itself, and people just they don't want it. They don't care.
That's the compromise, right? Like the compromise of an artist is that we want to do what we want to do, but you can't because the fans dictate it. And that's the compromise right there. And I so much agree with you. Like I came from the 90s, like Metallica doing 12-minute long songs and, full blown storylines for albums. And like, I miss it. I miss it deeply. Like I really do. Like, I definitely love how music's going these days, especially production. Like production's like, what the heck is going on? Like it's so crazy to hear some of these beats that are coming out. But I feel like like the artistry part of it, like especially in hip hop, like the lyricism, the like storytelling, a lot of that is like kind of like out the back door, you know, and not to say that there is an artist doing it. I just don't feel like it's like as popular as it used to be.
Yeah.
And like, it's just an unfortunate, you know, reality. It is what it is. Like if you know, the fans don't want to hear it, then I wouldn't put it out. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
Yeah,
the times we're in.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. And it's tough, like you touching on like the lyricism and how that, you know, seems to be a bit lacking. It depends on the genre of music and stuff, but yeah, these days in general, it's definitely not at the forefront as much as it was in the past. And yeah, someone like myself, I got into music. I mean, I obviously love music for the music, the production, and all of that as well. But I love, like, that's kind of why I got into rap specifically. I love lyrics. I love poetry. I've always been a writer, even when I wasn't writing music. I've always, you know, journaled or written poetry. You know, I had like a private Tumblr back in the day where I would just like journal and like blog basically, but it was just private. Like no one saw it. But I've just always been a writer and loved words and lyrics. So yeah, it's tough to wrap your head around, like, some songs it's just like the same 5 words repeated over and over again and there's no substance, but that's, you know, those are at the top of the charts. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like top 40 music has always kind of been like that to an extent. There's obviously different genres of music that focus more on lyrics, and that's been kind of an interesting journey for me as well, because when I first started putting out music, I was more heavy. Sorry, let me make sure my computer is plugged in here. It says is it charging? Okay. Sorry, I didn't want my computer to die.
It's all good.
But myself, yeah, when I first started getting into music, I was making kind of more, it was definitely more rap and more like hip hop, rather than my music now is kind of has more of like a pop influence to it. But I was doing it just for the lyricism, just to express myself through rap, through poetry. And it was a bit gloomier. I was, you know, going through it at the time, and it was kind of more like conscious rap. And as we talked about, you know, catering to what the fans want, what people want, I kind of switched my sound to a little bit more of like a melodic, you know, pop rap type vibe, because it catches people's attention more. And, you know, I don't know, it's tough because it's like, I never used to listen to top 40 music. I always used to pride myself on being like an underground hip hop fan, and, you know, I don't even listen to top 40 and that stuff's crap and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, you got to cater to what the people want if you want to catch people's attention and get your music out there. And I don't know, I think I do a decent job of keeping my music, you know, making sure there's substance there in my lyrics and being authentic and real. And I'm not out here rapping about like, I don't know, anything I don't live. Like, you know, I don't rap about or sing about things that I don't have experience in. But I try to make sure there's like a nice, you know, catchy pop element to it as well, so that, you know, I can catch people's attention and then hit them with the lyrics and the substance. So I try to find a balance there. But yeah, it's tough because, yeah, like we said, the most popular music these days, there's typically very little substance there lyrically, and just in whatever message they're trying to portray, if they're even trying to portray or get a message out there at all with that song.
Well, like, so listening to you like describe it, I think that and this is just my opinion, but like I think there's a bit of psychology going on here, and I would like to get your opinion on it. So is it all the fans, or are we being force-fed music from the industry?
Good point. Yeah. And that's kind of, yeah, it's kind of interesting how, like we were talking about pros and cons, animosity towards TikTok and how it's kind of taken over the music industry. It's cool because it's like, it's less influence from, you know, the record labels and the industry itself. You know, all of these TikTok, like especially the TikTok creators who have blown up on TikTok and their songs have popped off and made it to, you know, the charts. It's really cool. They've done that themselves, and it's not music being kind of force-fed to us from just the huge record labels. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool. But yeah, then there's, you know, the TikTok songs that pop off and they're just like no substance, and it's just whatever.
Yeah, it's like, what? Like, yeah, like, how is this? Like, not to call anyone out, but like Lil Pump, like, he's like notorious. I don't know anybody that likes him. Like, how are you
that's true.
famous? Like, how did your music become so, I don't know one person. And like, that's what I mean by it. Like, not to bash him, I'm not saying like anything bad, like kudos to you. Like, it's awesome. I'm inspired that you made it this far. But like, when I listen to your music, it's like, you're obviously not a musician and you just kind of did it to just do it. And he admits it. He says that. And like, I don't know anybody that's his fan. And so like, I'm like, is there like psychology going on here? Is like this song being pushed from the industry because they put a ton of money in it and they got to make their money back?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
sure.
Or so, like, I could be completely off. I'm literally just like shoot my thoughts out there. But like, sometimes I scratch my head at it because I'm like, how could this possibly be the biggest song in the world?
Right.
How? Like, and nobody likes it. It's really like everyone I know like talks crap about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I find that very
Yeah,
curious.
no, I'm sure there's industry push behind that. And I know record labels have, their feet in the Spotify pools, and they've got, semi control over, what songs are hitting the editorial playlists and getting the most streams and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of behind the scenes industry stuff that, they're pushing these artists that they've, put a bunch of money into. And yeah, that's tough. I know, like you said, Lil Pump. I know, again, no hate. Everyone's doing their own thing, but like I know Blueface, that artist, has literally said like, I don't give a shit about the music. I'm just here to make money, and that hurts as like
You're
an
right.
artist and musician, because like he's hitting the charts. He's making the money, but he literally is only doing music for the money and to be a rapper and get bitches and wear chains. And it's just like, damn, there's people out here who really care about the music, and then he's making all the money and that's all he cares about is the money. So it's sad, but just kind of is how it is. I feel like it's always kind of been that way with the music industry, but it's cool that I don't know, again, it's a balance and kind of a weird thing. I mean, it sucks that the music industry is so saturated these days with, just independent artists like myself trying to make it. And there's like so many people these days that are trying to make it as a musician, as an artist. So it's tough because it's so oversaturated. But it is really cool that TikTok, just the internet in general, all these platforms are giving independent artists like myself an opportunity to kind of, overcome this industry record label bullshit and make something of ourselves without the industry dictating music.
No, and you're right. And like, maybe there's a lesson here. And so I think about this, and this, like I'm way into like MMA and combat sports, but like that to me is like pure honor and respect. And I like deeply, deeply respect it. And I get super pissed when people like think it's a joke. Conor McGregor, that guy, like came in this ego, like I hated that guy. And like, that's just my personal thing. But like, I felt like how you feel about like Blueface or whatever. You like shitting on something that I take very serious. But then I peel back and I'm like, maybe there's a lesson here. And I think the lesson is that you don't have to be this egotistical person to create a persona, but we have to create a persona. And that's what they're doing. That's what Blueface did. That's what Lil Pump did. That's what Conor McGregor did. They created this persona about themselves, and they fully embraced it. Like you can't tell if they're fake or authentic. It's like kind of hard,
true.
right? And like that right there is kind of like the key. And so, I'm all about authenticity. So like, I'm going to be myself. And that's what I realized is like, I do have a lot of characteristics that people might be interested in, but like I have to show this to the world. I can't keep it in me, and I think like a lot of artists, like when we look at people like Lil Pump or Blueface or, like I'm saying, Conor McGregor, like, at least for me, like, I'm like, I get negative in my head, I'm like, fuck this. I'm not going to listen to this guy or like, screw this person. But and then I start to peel back and I'm like, you know what? There's a lesson here. Like they made it to a place I want to be. So maybe I should listen. Maybe I should focus and try to find like, what can I use that they're doing? And then bring it into me. So like I that's to be a bit more positive.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, I think that's super important with everything, to flip it and see the silver lining of things. And as we said, no hate to these guys. Everybody's doing their own thing, and everybody's just trying to make it however they're trying to make it, whatever. But yeah, seeing the silver lining of it, and or maybe not the silver lining per se, but yeah, like you said, they're obviously at a place, at a level that we're striving to get to. So they're doing something right, even if we don't fully agree with it, or totally see the bigger picture, but then it's tough too, because it's like, are they doing something right, or do they just have a ton of money that's just like pushing them, like we talked about, to the top? So it's like, sometimes you gotta, I don't know.
Well, I think that this is like an important conversation because like so many things happen to the human mind in this scenario. And like what we could do is we'll victimize ourselves by saying like, oh, this person shouldn't be there because like they were rich before, make all these excuses, right? And at the end of it, like, it's just coming from an insecurity that I have inside myself because I want to be there.
Yeah,
that's where I'm trying to go, you know? And like, how did you get there? And like, I don't feel like you deserve that spot.
Yeah.
And so like, I think that these are important conversations because like, don't get so like, not saying you, but just anybody that's in this spot, like try not to get in your head too much about it, you know, like take it as a lesson, like really get objective, not emotional, and say like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? You know, and then put the blame on yourself, take self-accountability and say, I'm gonna figure it out. And we're going to just, you know, whatever it is from them, or take pieces from all sorts of people that you like and try to mold it into you and become you, you know, instead of just being all hateful and resentful and blame the world or whoever for, you know, the reason why you're not where you are.
Yeah,
you know,
no, I think that's huge. Yeah, like you said, taking your emotion out of it. Yeah, and I feel like that's a big thing these days, and maybe it's because of the internet and the whole comparison game. Everybody deals with it, even just regular people being on social media and not trying to, you know, grow or make it in any way. Everybody's comparing their lives to other people, and it's tough to kind of pull your emotions out of it, especially in regards to like what we're talking about. And there's a lot of people, kind of playing the victim and not taking their, you know, responsibility for their own actions, or just being negative about everything instead of being like you said, all right, well, they're obviously at this point that I want to get to, so what can I do to get there? And I think too, like remembering, I have to remind myself of this a lot too, because it's easy to, especially I just mentioned, like the music industry, independent artists, it's so oversaturated these days. Everybody, like, I think there's like, 60,000 songs uploaded to Spotify every day or something like that.
I think so,
So it's easy to compare yourself and kind of mentally make it like a competition, but I try to always remind myself, like, there's room for everybody to win, you know. There's always going to be, I mean, as much as there's like thousands and thousands of songs being uploaded to Spotify every day, so it makes it harder to reach people per se, there's always going to be people, like, you're going to reach the fans that you need to reach, and there's always going to be people that dig what you're doing. You just got to find them, and there's room for everybody to win, you know. You don't gotta look at it as like a competition, like, well, I need to steal this person's fan base, or I need to do this and this. Like, everybody can eat, and I think I got to remind myself of that often, because it's easy to just look at it as especially with like things like the Billboard charts and I mean, even Spotify, like, it's only for the top, like, 500 artists in the world or whatever, but they, like, rank them. Like, I think Justin Bieber or Billie Eilish or whatever, they're, like, the top 1 and 2 artists, and it's, like, everything in the world is ranked. So it's hard to kind of take yourself out of that, like, competition mindset. But it's true, you know, there's billions of people in the world. Everybody can eat and make a living off of music if you just work it the right way and stay positive and consistent. That's huge.
Well, it's so easy, like you explained it, like to think of Justin Bieber and be like, that's so unfair, right? It's so easy for us to say that, but I think you're pointing out something perfect here, is that like, change your mindset and say like, nah, there's enough for all of us. And you don't have to be Bieber. You don't have to be this like mega superstar with billions and billions of dollars, right? You can make $100,000 a year and be super happy doing music, right? And so like, that's what we got to do. And this comes full circle back to these numbers, numerics, metrics, whatever you want to gauge, is like really get that in your head of like, what's important to you? Like, is you becoming Justin Bieber important to you? Probably not. And like, if we focus on that, it's always going to be like, it's unfair, you know? And like, I get it. Like it's a compelling argument. It really is, but it doesn't help you. And that's what it is. Like, that's what I see. Is like, I see a lot of people, you know, will waste their time with these arguments, and then maybe even go and fight for it. And it's like, you could have spent all that time on yourself and still made something work. And like, there's enough for all of us. It's you said it.
And I think like a big thing too is taking your ego out of it. Like, of course, everybody well, maybe not everybody, but you know, most people who make music, of course, you'd love to become famous and super well known and stuff like that. But as you said, you can make 100,000, more than that even, make a year making music, doing different things. I mean, we talk about sync licensing. You're real heavy into that. You know, there's so many merch, just booking shows and doing gigs. You could be a full-time musician, booking gigs every weekend, making really great money, and you know, not the whole world doesn't know about you or anything like that. You're not some super famous artist, but you're making a living as a musician, and you've got a core fan base, and you know, people are buying things from you. There's ways to make money in music without being super famous. And I think everybody wants that, obviously. It feels great to be well known and to be liked and, you know, to be reaching thousands, millions of people, whatever. But I think taking your ego out of it and trying to like, what I've been trying to do recently, as we talked about, is like just the more of like the entrepreneurial mindset of like, all right, what are some avenues that I can do what I love and make money doing it? And, you know, still on the side work towards, you know, reaching people and growing my fan base and becoming, you know, well known to whatever extent I'm meant to be known, but focusing less on like, all right, I'm trying to get rich and famous and be, you know, the top art, which has never been a goal of mine. Yeah, I won't go into the...
That's why you and I are working. Like, it's so cool to listen to you speak. Like, we relate. I relate to you so much.
And
so
like,
much.
Yeah, without going into too much detail. I mean, you obviously know more about it, but, you know, I was working with some people in the industry management who I felt like they were kind of striving for that more than I was. Like, they were trying to make me a bigger artist than I even intended to be. And it was flattering to an extent because, you know, they saw the potential in me and they said, you know, the way they kind of worded it was, you know, you should reach for the stars. You know, you've got a lot of potential. You're super great. I think I could see you as, you know, the next whatever big superstar. And they were kind of like pushing for that more than I even wanted that. And I had to kind of step back and be like, okay, wait, I mean, like, yeah, obviously that would be great. But, you know, that's never been like my goal. I just want to make a living off my music. You know, I want to make money doing what I love, be able to express myself through my art. I don't need to be the next, you know. So being able to step back and kind of realize that for myself was huge because it's super easy to get sucked into, I don't know, yeah, just those mind games and like the ego and just being like, yeah, okay. Especially when people are feeding you stuff like that and they're like, yeah, I see the potential in you. I totally can see you being this, you know, and it's easy to be like, oh, okay, yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know, just eat those kind of compliments up and
You're
let
right.
it feed your ego. But yeah, I just started to feel really overworked and really just sidetracked from my whole entire goal and like striving for something that I didn't even really want in the first place. So yeah, I think that's important too, just taking your ego out of it and remembering that like, you can totally make a living doing what you love without being the most well-known person in whatever field, you know, outside of music even.
I think you did two very important things here, is that you determined who you want to work with. And you started to realize, like, these people don't really line up well with who I am. And, like, this right here is the most important question that any entrepreneur needs to answer before they start. I've been screwed by a lot of people. Left, you know, ghost, you know, never hear from them again. I've had businesses fall under because of other people. And so, like, choosing the right people to work with is, like, absolute key. It really, really is. And knowing yourself first is, like, that will get you in line with that.
Right.
But then also, you confronted the reality. You faced the music. No pun intended. But, like, you understand now that, like, you got to do more. There's got to be more. Like, and I've understood that too. I understood it years ago. It's like, you know, I can't just sell beats online. This is a pipe dream.
Mm-hmm. I
got to create multiple streams of income. I got to hustle. I got to work hard. Like, this is not easy.
Yeah.
If it was, everybody would do it. Like,
exactly.
It's a matter of, like, creating multiple streams of income, and you're constantly at it every day, just finding new opportunities. And you even talked about it. Like, it doesn't have to be music. Sometimes it could be a side hustle of something else.
Yeah.
You know, but, like, the shows you talk about, like, those are really, really big for artists. I know one of my friends is, like, highly successful at doing it. Highly, highly successful. And so I've witnessed these things happen. And that's where it opened my mind to, like, there's way more to music than just, like, trying to get people to listen to your music and make money in streaming.
Right.
And I think a lot of artists don't understand this. They don't realize that it's like, you could do shows and get paid for shows, or you could put on shows and get paid for them. You know, you could get into, like, you could become an engineer. You could do mixing and mastering. You could do features. You could do hooks. Sell hooks with producers online. There's so many things where, hey, we're back.
Okay, I lost you for 20
we're
seconds
back?
or so.
All right, we're back. So and really, I'll just cut that off and then we'll go back. But you know, you just touched on, you know, all the, like, different avenues we could take to make money as musicians, and if we want to win, like, it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Like, because let's think about this too. Like, okay, everyone's so focused on the famous ones, but how many is there versus how many people there is
Exactly.
versus how many musicians there is going for it? So what are your chances? You know, it's like slim to none.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're fighting an uphill battle that is like, I don't know. I'd like, especially to get to like famous, like good luck. And so it's just such like the wrong aim. And I think that like when you realize like I create side hustles and slowly build and, you know, get this side hustle going and like this could bring money in. And then hopefully eventually you get to like passive stuff. But like, that's what it's all about, is thinking outside the box and, you know, trying to find those different, you know, streams coming in, you know, of income to keep you afloat as a musician.
Yeah, I think that's super important. And yeah, I've kind of shifted my mindset to that more, especially in the last, like, I don't know, 6 months or so. Because yeah, like you said, you know, what are the chances of you being the next superstar? And it's so expensive too. I watched a video by Wendy Day, who's a big A&R, and she's real big in the music industry. But she was saying that it takes basically like $250,000 to really break an artist into the music industry, you know, like mainstream. So unless you have like crazy money or investors, you know, it's really tough to really break it into like mainstream music industry. But I don't know, there's just so much you can do. And there's even more than I really want to explore, like other avenues as well of making music. I've been looking into, like even like putting or doing like Fiverr gigs or just like freelancing gigs where I can like sell my background vocals or do, you know, vocals for other artists and stuff like that. Like there's always avenues to do what you love and not have to work a boring 9 to 5 and make money, you know, with music. So yeah, I've been trying to explore that a bit myself more recently rather than shooting for, because I mean, obviously, as I said, I would love to be, you know, well known and famous to whatever extent I'm meant to be, but yeah, it's just like a 1 in a million shot, which I don't know. I'm always trying to find the balance too of like putting the intention out there and having full confidence and like, well, I can be that 1 in a million because I know that's what it takes, you know, to like manifest that and really put that intention out there. But at the same time, you got to be realistic about it, and you got to, you know, look at the statistics, look at the numbers, and you can still have that 100% confidence in yourself and put that out there and step back and see the reality of it as well. It's a balance, as is everything in life, but yeah.
Well, I really like how you say like whatever I'm meant to be. I love that, because that's what I always do. I leave things open. I leave my mind open all the time. I'm like, whatever comes my way, like bring it, right?
Yeah.
But like another cool thing you're doing is like you're ready. So if it did happen, like you'd be okay. You know, and like, I think that this right here, like, I know this at a very deep level, and for people that like really haven't gone inside their self and like know who they are, like say if like a big break came for them, they're going to crumble. You're going to crumble under, you're not ready for that pressure. Like your ego is going to destroy you. And me, like, we'll put it this way, like on my live feed the other day, like I keep having this guy come in there and he's like, give me that beat. And like just kind of being rude about it, and I'm like, you know, like, you want to buy that beat? You know, I'll respond like that, you know. And he was like wanting to talk about like cryptocurrency and stuff like that. I'm like, you want to talk about music? You know, and like that's me being me. Like I'm here on a mission.
Yeah.
Like don't come in here with a bull crap. And like what this I'm pointing this out because it's important, is that like I'm not gonna get lost in the sauce or whatever the slang term is now. Like if a crazy opportunity came my way that's like too good to be true, I'm gonna turn it down. Like I already know better. Like I'm on a mission here. I know where I'm going, and you too. So like that's what I mean by like you're ready. Like if like all these cool opportunities hit you, you'd be very objective and smart and logical about picking where you're going to go and what you're going to do, because you know who you are. And like, it's just so critical to do way before you become an entrepreneur or go into any sort of business endeavor. You got to know who you are.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And yeah, it's been an interesting journey because I mean, I'm turning 26 in like a week actually. So, you know, I'm a little bit old for like the music industry, but I still feel so young and so like I'm still learning so much and still learning about who I am. I mean, I don't know. I think that's something we really need to shift in society as well. Like the fact that, you know, once you're past 25 or whatever, you're old. Like your 20s are still such formative years. You know, even your 30s, you know, it's crazy. You're still learning so much about yourself. So it's been interesting trying to like build a brand and venture into all these entrepreneurial type things and still kind of figuring out what I stand for and what I really want out of life. Yeah, so it's been a journey, a balance, as I've said about 100 times in this interview podcast.
Well, I will say this. So like, I'm 38, so I'm not like super old, but I still feel like I'm 10. You don't ever get like, the brain doesn't change. Like you still feel young. Like I look in the mirror, I'm like, holy crap, how'd I get this old? Like where did 40 years go? Like it really blows my mind. I'm telling you, I assure you. And so like when I hear people say like, I'm too old for the industry or what, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like mentally you're still a child. So like go at it. You know what I mean? And like, I so much agree with you. Like it's society. Like they paint this picture of like, what type of, what age you're supposed to be and like what's appropriate. And it's all bull crap. It's just like conform to what we do. It's like, no. Like do whatever you want. Like that's the beauty of America. Like we're here. We could do whatever the hell we want. So like do it,
Yeah.
Be you. If you're 6 years old and you want to be a rapper, like I think that'd be the coolest thing ever, especially if you're dope. Like I'll buy your music all day long. So I encourage it. Like, even a 6-year-old rapper, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like go for it. Whatever age, whatever walk of life, wherever you're from, like if you're going for something, like don't let society's judgments hold you back.
Right. Yeah. And it's been interesting too, like I said, getting into the game kind of late for the music industry and society's standards of, I don't know. And it's interesting too, learning about, I don't know, just the music industry in general, how there's kind of this stigma of once you're, I don't know, 22, 23, 24, 25, older than that, you're worth less, not worthless, but like worth less because you're not as easily moldable. You know yourself better. You've got, standards, boundaries, stuff like that. You're not as like it's harder for the music industry to get in your mind and mold you into who they want you to be. So I feel like that's something that I've really realized recently, kind of, thinking about this whole idea of being old for the music industry. There's an artist, Queen Herbie, who I really love. She's like 35 now, and she's real open about her age, and she was in a duo with her current husband still, who's her producer, back in, I don't even know, it was like the kind of early 2000s, 2010s when she was like my age. And she was signed to a record label and all of that, and she was, killing it in the music industry. But then she kind of had this realization of like, or I think some shady stuff went down. I don't know her full story, but she rebranded herself basically as Queen Herbie, and that's how she puts out music now. And yeah, she's catering more towards like 30-year-olds. And I mean, I love her music too. She has a very youthful sound to her music and stuff like that, but she's all about really calling out the industry and society in general for kind of capping women, especially at like 30. Once you're past 30, you're, we don't care about you. Your sex appeal is gone, and you're, like I said, for the music industry especially, you're not as moldable for them to mold you into what they want you to be. So I think it's cool that, like circling back to like TikTok and all these platforms that are really helping independent artists, I don't know, kind of make their break on the internet through music, because it's giving older people, washed up women, which is like, it's so gross that society and like the music industry, like it just puts that in our heads. But like all these, older women or guys too, older rappers or whatever, the opportunity to still do their thing and make it and grow a fan base, because the industry just really does kind of, like for women especially, I mean guys too, guys, they say, if you're like 35 or older trying to become a rapper, like forget it. And women, if you're like over 20 even and trying to make it in music, forget it. And it's just like, no, what? Like that's crazy. So it's really cool, the internet, how it's, giving us the avenue to push ourselves more and kind of crumble those societal structures and ideologies as well, because fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. And like, how could you tell a person's age? It's like, it's just such crap, right? Like I get it all the time. People are like, you're almost 40? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, so like, and my wife too, like she looks like she's like, she gets carded all the time. She's 35. So like, she looks like she's 18, but like, I think too, like, I think about this a lot, and I see like the whole push of like, the industry's really shifting right now, especially like image wise. And they're trying to change like, you know, you and I talk about it, like the sex appeal, right? But when I think about this, I'm like, I don't think that's the industry. Honestly, don't. Like, I think that like it's more consumer, and we get like so mesmerized by beauty, and we have for thousands of years. Like the Mona Lisa would be the prime example, right?
Yeah.
That like that's going to be a hard thing to change, because I don't think that that's the industry. Like now, when you put numbers on things like 30 years old, like get the hell out of here. Like that is so like, thank you, TikTok. We'll just say that. Like give us the power to take it back, because that's crap. But like, I wonder how much of like image we could change.
True.
You know, because like that right there is going to be super hard for like the consumers to you know, accept, I think. I don't know, like it's just my thoughts on it, but like I always thought about that. I'm like, beauty has been such a huge driving factor for for humans for thousands of years. Like we talk about queens that were just unbelievably beautiful. Like it's gone on forever, right? And so I don't know, to kind of change that is going to be a bit difficult, you know?
Yeah.
And like there's always going to be an edge for a woman that is like absolutely beautiful. Like they're going to crush it online, right? Or a man that has like muscles and is beautiful. Like it's a lot easier for them to like go and like do something for image where people will like, you know, get attracted to it.
True.
And, like that's going to be a difficult thing to like reverse.
Yeah.
You know? And
That's
I'm
more
not
like a
I'm not
societal-
bashing it at all. Like I think like I see beauty in the mind. I don't see it in physical. So
Yeah.
it's more character for me. That's where I find beauty. But you know, like that's not society. Like most of society is they're just driven by, you know, looks. So.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Yeah, it's more than just the music industry or society. It's just and it's kind of been ingrained, like you said, for hundreds of thousands of years. So yeah, it's tough. It'll be tough to break through. But I think with the age of the internet and like these platforms like TikTok and the encouragement to be more raw online, be more authentic, you know, as much as filters have kind of come out more so in the last 5 years. I don't know. And people still use filters and they're still fun. I love filters and stuff, but I feel like they're kind of coming to like a cap. People are kind of pushing past that and being like, no, like show yourself online, show your pores, show what it's like to really be a human, you know, raw online rather than this polished image, which that's something I'm still trying to find a balance in too, being more raw online. But yeah, like you said, there's all these like beauty standards, societal standards that like, it's tough, especially, I don't know. I don't want to say especially as a woman. I mean, guys have it hard too, but especially as a woman, you know, like all these
you're
standards. Right. Yeah. So.
Well, and the thing is like, I think too, like, just like listening to you break down these filters, right? So actually, I think that this is a part of beauty, but people are focused on authenticity, which they view as beautiful, not fake. So that's why they're saying show your pores.
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing, it's psychological. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the psyche is still doing the same thing. We're seeing fake, so we're like, where's your true beauty at? You know what I mean? So it's such a like, I'm way deep into the mind, you know this, but like when I think about things like that, that's how I think of it, is like it's still at the end coming from the same deep core like value that we all have as humans. You know what I mean?
Very true. That's a good point. I love that.
Yeah, and like I say fitness a lot, and we're going for a long time. Maybe we'll wrap it up here soon. But
yeah, for sure.
The fitness industry is so massively corrupted.
Oh yeah,
it breaks my heart. Like completely breaks my heart. And like we idolize these. I hate to be negative, but like bodybuilders, it's just such crap. It's like, what is going on here? And like I could say like Steffi Cajon, she's the strongest human on earth. Nobody knows her.
Oh, wow.
And it just like, I'm like, how is this like, how are we idolizing Ronnie Coleman, you know? And everyone knows like The Rock or whatever. And like, not Steffi Cajon, the strongest human on earth. And it's a female.
And isn't bodybuilding more like, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't bodybuilding more for like it's more for the aesthetics. It's not like actual strength, right? You're just building your muscles
performance.
for looks. Yeah. So that's like,
so it's
totally
like pure ego.
Counterintuitive
it's pure
to
ego.
fitness.
And then when I talk about corruption, right? Like I'll watch like certain bodybuilders and they're like advertising a protein shake, and none of them are doing this. None of them. They're all making money. They're feeding lies to people. People are getting hurt over it. Like they don't eat any of this stuff. They eat super clean. This is very, very disciplined profession to go after. Like it's insanely disciplined. Like most humans couldn't even wrap their mind around what these people have to do. But we somehow turn that into like the most popular part of fitness. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm like, no. Fitness is health. It's movement.
Yeah.
It's not looks. It's not looks. It has nothing to do with this. And like, when I think about like just fitness alone, I'm like, that industry is so beyond like off the beaten path. Like it saddens me. But then I think about music and I'm like, this is going in the same direction. Then I think about like America. I'm like, oh, that's going in the same direction. It's like,
the world
where are we going here? Mm-hmm.
For real. Yeah,
and
my
it's
boyfriend's real into CrossFit. I don't know if you follow that at all, but yeah, all these
love it.
CrossFit athletes, they're labeled as like the most fit people in the world because they are, like, as far as their strength and agility and stuff like that. But you look at them, like I think Matt Frazier was the CrossFit winner for the last like 3 years. I don't know anymore, but you look at him and physically he doesn't look like the strongest human or the most fit human in the world because it's all like realistic strength and fitness. Like bodybuilders, they're going for the huge biceps and the the crazy aesthetic, like physical aesthetics, but they don't actually have the strength. He's the fit, he doesn't look the fittest, but he is the most flexible and agile, and he like literally physically is the most fit. And it's kind of just crazy just the difference in like the physical fitness standards versus like the actual realistic everyday life fitness. And I know you're way more into that, rather than the looks. You're trying to actually be fit and be able to move your body when you're 50 plus.
Yeah, that's like my like absolute goal. Like I could care less how I look. Like I definitely got caught in the corruption in the beginning, and like most of what I speak about is like lessons I've already learned and like gone through, made those mistakes, and so like fitness, like I 100% went out for the muscles. I got super big. I gained a lot of muscle, felt like crap, was completely unhealthy, had to change everything because like I followed the wrong path.
Right.
And like, that's why I understood it. And like, you're bringing up like Matt Frazier, like what an insane animal he is. And like, these are the people we need to idolize. Like his name needs to be tossed around over and over and over. He's 5'6", 180 pounds.
Yeah.
He's a like little person, compared like when you think about it, right?
Right.
But he just crushes everybody. And it's funny you bring him up because he just got hired by, it's called Hybrid. And that's Steffi Cohen's company.
Oh, okay.
So now he's a strength and conditioning coach for her company.
Oh, sick.
And she's going out for professional boxing. Like when I watch these people, these are like the 1%ers of the 1%ers, like the elite, like high performers of the entire world. And like, I'm like, why are we not talking? These people are like in this dark corner. Nobody knows about them.
Yeah. And I think
it's really strange thing.
Yeah. It's a good testament to, like you said, just society and the whole beauty image standard. People care more about these bodybuilders that look super fit, even if they can't even lift a fucking barbell over their head because their biceps prevent them from doing that, literally.
Yeah, it's sorry to interrupt you, but I want to say this because like I've been like getting really into Olympic weightlifting lately. My wife and I, that's like all we watch, and we've been watching the Chinese, and holy fucking shit! Like I've literally just been humbled. Like I sat back, like just sat on the floor, watched it for like 2 hours with my mouth open, like what in the fuck are these guys doing? Like the movements that they are doing are like unhuman.
Dang.
And I'm like, this right here is fitness. They have mid-back posterior muscles that pop out. They protrude out. So their mid-back like is like a hump.
Jeez.
And I've just never seen anything like it. And when I watch them move, I'm like, they are going to be super healthy and feel good for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. Because really, like the key to health is a healthy spine. Not a lot of people know this. Like your spine is connected to everything in your body. And once one thing goes bad in it, like shit just goes out of whack.
Oh yeah.
And it trickles down. But and that's called like referred pain and kinetic chain. But like when I watch the Chinese Olympic weightlifters, I'm like, these names should be like everywhere. We should be idolizing these people. And it's like, I don't know. We idolize like movie stars and like I said, like no bash on The Rock. Like he's obviously like a super disciplined animal, right? But like he's looked at as like the fitness guru. I'm like, no, no. There's so much better out there. Like it's like, what the hell is? It's I don't know. It blows my mind. It really does.
Yeah.
Like what we pick as societies, because like obviously like there's some sort of thing going on in the background of like us being like spoon fed The Rock through movies and things like that, but we're also guilty of it because it's like, what are we choosing to consume? You know what I mean? And like, so at the end of it, it's like, I can't blame the rock or society or anything else. It's like, if that's what we want, like if that's what people want, like that's what they're going to get, you know? And then when there's a demand for it, that's what's going to be popular. So like, I can't scream and cry about it, but like when I think about it, I'm like, no, you're looking at the wrong people, you know? So I feel that way about music too. There's so many artists like you, I'm like, you should be listened to over others. I'm not going to put any names, but like, I feel that way about you too. So. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And I think that's cool with the internet. It's definitely shifting things because all these industries, music, Hollywood, fitness, you know, before the internet, they were able, and I mean, even still through the internet, they're able to kind of push these agendas and push, just what their ideas of what they think we should be consuming. And through the internet and just regular people being on the internet, TikTok, Instagram, all these platforms, we're able to kind of break through that and shift that and be like, oh, wait, no, like this isn't, these don't need to be the standards, you know. We can create new standards that aren't pushed by these multi-million-dollar companies and industries that are just pumping out whatever they want to do well in the stock market.
No, and you're so right. You're so right. Like the internet, that's the best thing about it. I really do. I think that's like the number one thing about the internet is there's a lot of negativity, but what it's done for me is find people like the Chinese weightlifters. I would never be able to watch their sessions without YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you said, these artists breaking out of TikTok, you know, like none of that is possible without it. And so we would have to face the industry. We would have to like somehow get through the gatekeepers or whatever they do in the back end to stop people from getting through. Right. You got to somehow break through that, right? And like, so the internet has allowed us to bridge that gap. And you know, that's the coolest part about it is like when I find people on there where I'm like, finally, like this is my thoughts, you know, because I posted that thing the other day and I stole it from Jocko, but I said, what did I say now? Like you ever feel like, or, you know, having a conversation about life and you feel like, you know, this person's watching a different movie than you. Do you remember that? Like I posted that.
Yeah.
And like, and that's Jocko. Jocko said that, but I feel that way a lot. Like, it's not like I'm like lonely. Like my wife and I, we're on the same page. You know, like I got people that you and I, we're on the same page. But like when I think most of the world, I'm like, I'm in a different movie.
Yeah.
I'm not in the same movie as you, you know? And like, so it scares me sometimes. Like, and so when I find people out there that are like me, I'm like, oh, finally, like breath of fresh air, you know, like, okay, this is what I think. This is what I believe. You know what I mean? So the internet allowed that.
Yeah. I like that. I feel like we've come like full circle. We started, like you said, I definitely had a little, we started this out and I was like a little animosity towards social media and the internet, but you're right. I feel like it's a beautiful place for reaching like-minded people and just creating conversation that goes beyond, all these like industries of the world and societal standards and stuff like that. We're able to break past those and find like-minded people. So that's, it's a good shift of perspective.
Well, and it's like the yin and yang. Like, we can't always be all negative. Like, there's always positives. And so it's good to go back and forth and, like, think about it all, you know, because, like, I think what that does is it helps you land in the middle, you know, and so you could have a true perspective of where you're at. So you're not on one, never want to be all the way on one side. Like, just try to stay in the middle. Like I say, open-minded. So
yeah, for sure.
But that might be good to end it on if you have anything else to say.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a while. Sorry for the technical difficulties at first, but thank you for your help as far as, you know, my interface and everything as well.
100%. I'm excited for, we got some hooks that we're going to get done again. I'm going to take them to the big studio. So we'll do another 3 or 4. We just need tons and tons of people to come in and buy them. So wherever you are, go buy them. Even though we're saying don't advertise, right?
Yeah, but
also we got some music that we need you to purchase or at least stream. Go stream Devin Sunshine like crazy. Just put it on repeat, you know.
Yes.
But right on, I appreciate
you. Thank you so much, Robert, for having me on. This was fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you for being my first artist. This is episode number 1. I don't know like how crazy I am going to get with these, but I want to do more. We're going to do a follow-up, you know, and because I really enjoy our conversations. I think you have a lot of great insight to offer, especially for up-and-comers. So, you know, this is good.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you, and we will end it. Until next time, thank you, Devin.